I went to church a few times. Honestly, I just got lazy.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Atheist Vanguard. My name is Derek Hawke. I am with some illustrious guests today. First to my right is
Zweifler.
Joshua.
Yeah.
How you doing, Joshua?
Good.
And we are pleased to welcome the wonderful ShannonQ.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is ShannonQ. I guess I would label myself as an atheist advocate. Hi, Jamie. And I have a channel that's called ShannonQ, and on my channel I talk about the intersection between psychology and faith, and I also engage in what I would refer to as complex conversations with people whose viewpoints are diametrically opposed to my own. So yeah, that's who I am. If you'd like to, go check me out. Hopefully you'll like it.
It's excellent content.
Yep.
Thank you.
What about you? What about you, Josh?
I mean, this is what I do now, man. Atheist Vanguard. This is what we've been doing for a while.
Vanguardian for life.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go to the first clip.
I have 3 kids. Sunday, Saturday, my kids have soccer.
Do the kids go to church?
No. I baptized my kids. I haven't done the communion yet with my oldest ones yet. But I'm planning to. I guess I would love to teach them.
So is it more that you strongly believe in it, or is it more that it's just a part of your culture?
I think that's what it is. I think you're right. I think it's more of the culture.
You have family expectations?
Absolutely, yeah. My parents, my grandparents were all Roman Catholics,
So if
I
you
just feel it's like the right thing to do.
If you didn't do it, if you said, you know what, I'm not sure about this, what would your family, how would they take it? What do you think they'd say?
They live in New York, I live in Miami, so I don't think they would, no, they would probably say something.
If you didn't, not that you just didn't tell them, but that you told them you weren't going to do it.
They probably wouldn't like that idea. They probably would tell me, you should probably do it, it's good for the kids. But, I don't know, it's pretty intensive topic, right?
Are you convinced it's good for the kids?
Do you believe about that Justin Smollett?
I'm convinced that a good example is good for the kids. That's if you're.
But religion could give you that as well, I think.
It depends on.
Some religions could give you a good example. I mean, I know a lot of people that stop drinking because of the religion.
There are stories on both sides of priests molesting children.
Yes.
So there's debate to be had, but I don't want to get into the specifics. Just you personally, with your stories, actually what I want to know is how has that religion proved to be good in your life? Has it proved to be a good example for your kids? Or is that something you could do without? As just a human being?
Well, I've been doing it without. It's been years now. I mean, we don't practice it. We don't go to Sundays. We don't go to church. So I mean, we've been doing pretty good just without it.
Okay, but do you think that the moral bedrock, the foundation of your moral beliefs, are rooted firmly in the Catholic faith, and you just carried it over, or do you think that just being a decent human being and follow the laws of the land is enough to keep you out of trouble?
Well, I think it's just the laws and the land, you know. But I think it's mostly culture, like you said. My parents, my grandparents, they were all Catholic. So it just seemed right for me to do it as well. But I'm a newer generation, so it's a little different, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not so sure even if there's a God or there isn't. I mean,
but if you didn't...
I have to see to believe.
Yeah, you need more evidence?
I need more evidence.
Welcome to the family, I say to that guy.
Really though, eh?
I mean, he really just seems like he's a good, couple episodes of yours off from being, considering himself to be not religious. I mean, he doesn't seem to consider himself religious, but
it seems like his aversions to declaring that he isn't religious have to do with him receiving social consequences if he doesn't go through with what's perceived as the correct actions in order to identify as a member of his in-group.
Right, and I think that's true for so many people out there, and I think this guy is totally representative of so many other people. It's for me, talking to someone like this is really encouraging.
Yeah.
Because this guy, I mean, I don't know how much he thought about this afterwards, but this was a random interaction for him. I imagine he probably went home and he thought about it a little bit, and he might still, those lingering thoughts might still be there. And for people who are like on the fence like that, just remaining in that religious realm because of family and social pressures and stuff like that, it doesn't take much nowadays to nudge people over to the other side. And I'm not saying that, I want everyone to think exactly like I do or anything like that, but getting people to actually think about what they believe, which this guy, I think, obviously hasn't done very much.
He seems as though he's inherited religion as a tradition instead of a belief.
Right.
And that's a good point. That's the point that I was going to bring up was, and what I found interesting about this conversation was the aspect of tradition versus indoctrination, or how indoctrination will infiltrate somebody's life via culture and via traditions, because indoctrination is a very invasive thing. Once it's there, it's there. It's permanent. You can't get rid of it. For example, for me, I was baptized as a child. Now, I don't find that harmful. Don't really care. As long as they didn't dunk me like this, like that, I'm fine.
By one leg and
or just the heel.
It's not
I could
super
be super
traumatizing,
Achilles, but when we talk about stuff like circumcisions or those type of genital mutilations, that is also traditional base that indoctrination has influenced. So we got to look at that. But that's just it. I found this very interesting because he's right at the edge, like you said.
Yeah.
I think that's common. Most people they go through the motions because it's what you do.
Yeah.
Not because it's what you believe. And they don't really understand or focus in on or hone in on what their religion actually says. They have it preached to them.
Exactly.
So they believe it the way it was presented to them instead of actually looking into the tenets of their faith. And when somebody presents them with the actual tenets of their faith, they're usually taken aback.
Right.
Because they don't realize that that's what it says. They just accepted the flowery bits that were shown to them.
Right.
And said, well, it's good. It's okay. It makes you moral. We're supposed to love each other. That's what my religion says. Right. And then you say, but it also says this. And they're like, no, it doesn't.
Well, I think
yes, it does.
Yeah, literally exact words. Yeah.
And I think you hit the nail on the head with the consequences. You talked about the family and what they would think. And I know I specifically asked this question this morning to my mother about why I was baptized, and it's because the stresses that the family members were putting.
Yep.
Because
what's the harm in doing?
Well, the Catholics they have horror stories about what happens to the unbaptized babies, and I think they've changed that story. But it all goes back to the end result is if you don't do this, you're going to hell.
Yeah, exactly. And they are indoctrinated to think that if they don't do that to their children and teach them at least the traditions that have been passed down to them, then they are risking their eternal souls. And, if you're a good parent and you believe that's true, then of course you're going to go through that because you see it as protection.
Right.
Because you don't understand any better.
But he said something very interesting, that he gets it's because he's a good person because of the laws of the land, not because of the Bible. I found that interesting that he would say that.
He's on the precipice. He's right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Come
Because
over to the other side.
We always goes right
Yeah.
from religion to morality.
Yeah.
Right.
And I forgot who said this. I'm not sure, but one of the downfalls of humanity was when we allowed religion to hijack morality.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Morality is one of the things that actually deconverted me.
Yep.
I was one of the people that, kind of like him, I thought that I was very devout in my faith, and I realized that most of my faith had been dictated to me. It wasn't something that I was fully grasping or understanding. So I went through the endeavor of actually, reading the Bible and doing some research, and I found myself making moral assessments.
Worst thing you can do as a believer is read the Bible.
Worst thing you can do. And I was making moral assessments, and I was trying to reconcile things that were happening in the Bible with my internal morality that I had developed, culturally, psychologically, through family. And I realized that I was grappling with reconciling my internal morality with what I was reading. And if I was grappling with that means inherently that the morality that I have is completely different than the morality in the Bible, which means logically that can't be where I'm getting it.
Right.
Otherwise, it would just seem to flow naturally.
Yeah.
It would be common sense. Everything that happened in there would just be Yeah, of course that's the way that
Right.
happened.
If it was
because
written
it's
on
moral.
our hearts, then
Yes,
we
then
wouldn't
my heart wouldn't have
necessarily
hurt.
have to read it. Right.
Yes.
That's even better way to put
I would
it.
have been
If it's
interested.
written on my heart, it wouldn't.
Yeah, then my heart wouldn't hurt.
I would have been interested to know his thoughts on the afterlife, because he actually did say that he wasn't sure if he believed in a God or not.
Right. I imagine he's probably one of the
He even
types
said I'd have
of
to see it.
religious people. Yeah, he did. I think he would be the type of person to say, if there is a heaven and if there is a God, then it's probably a God that's just gonna be like, chill and be like, yeah, man, you did cool stuff during your life. You didn't really hurt people. You didn't do any terrible stuff. All right, come on in. We got you, bro. Like, not that I think that's exactly
That's
what he
not what
thinks, but, like,
Catholics believe.
no, it is.
He's not a
It is
Catholic.
definitely not. It is definitely not. But I think that's what a lot of people believe.
That's a wrong- he said he's-
nowadays. If you actually ask them,
Right.
because they can't bring themselves to be like,
The Roman, she was Roman Catholic, so I don't know if it was that it would be that lenient. I want to tell a quick story about a Roman Catholic that I met when I was in high school. I did a part-time job at a medical records place, and the lead secretary was this wonderful woman, middle-aged woman, who was excommunicated from the church because she got a divorce. She got a divorce from this man because he was beating the living shit out of her.
Good for her.
And she was fearing for her life. But I asked her if she would ever remarry, and she said she couldn't. So I'm hoping that she had a more happy ending to her life. But at that time, the way the story seemed to end was that she was going to die alone, never experience love again, because her religion said that she committed a sin of leaving the man who beat the shit out of her.
Wow.
It
People
broke
say
my
that it
heart as
doesn't
a
cause any
teenager.
damage.
It broke
Yeah.
my heart as a teenager.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're condemning someone to loneliness because they were engaging in self-preservation. You're condemning somebody to a life of misery because they were attempting to escape misery and they had to choose which misery was going to be worse.
right.
And he
This
was
is
the
one
one
of the
in
problems.
the right side of God.
Disgusting.
This is disgusting.
This is one of the problems with moral edicts. It leads to these situations when you don't leave any room for nuance, any room for looking at individual circumstances and judging them based on their own merits. This is the kind of stuff that it can lead to, and it really it destroys people's lives. There are people who recover and come back out of it, but there are people that they will spend the rest of their lives in
Misery.
absolute misery, and it's really so sad.
Because they're willing to trade the rest of their lives for eternity. Because
Right.
Eternity
Exactly.
Is longer.
Exactly. And I mean that's this is kind of a extreme example to bring up, but like the people who murder their own children before they're able to do anything so bad that they won't be able to get into heaven. If you're going from the standpoint of the Bible, that would kind of be the best thing for any parent to do.
Yeah.
It would end the human race rather quickly, but if you were only concerned about your child's well-being and not necessarily worrying about them carrying on any kind of lineage, though I don't know if the Bible says anything about...
Let's be fruitful and multiply.
yeah, it does say that. So, I mean, it's easily rationally... You can easily rationalize these types of actions.
And call them love.
Exactly, and call them love.
I have to say, and I want to have a little anger in my voice, but I am offended when we have natural disasters, even man-made disasters, and the answers are not only with the thoughts and prayers, but, they're up in heaven with God, jumping in puddles and with puppies and unicorns, blah, blah, blah. I'm offended by that.
Yeah.
I'm offended by that. God works in mysterious ways.
That drives me absolutely bananas. The God works.
That's God's will.
Because they're the same people that will assert that they can explain things because of God, but until they can't explain something, and then he's mysterious, and that is a cop-out.
I know.
Absolutely.
You don't get to have it both ways.
Recently in Texas, we've had a rash of tornadoes, and actually across the states we have a rash of tornadoes, and they're always all about the whole neighborhood is obliterated, but the prayer closet is left standing, or God threw up a little pole here and a bowl there. Now you got a cross there. What the hell?
Yeah.
Ooh, that makes me mad.
Or the
Yeah.
cross in Notre Dame that stayed
Fine.
up. It's like, A, the fire wasn't even burning there, and B, it's made of gold.
Gold.
Yeah, it's, you know.
Of course it's there. That's the way physics works.
If Jesus came down and rebuilt that roof, then I would be impressed.
Yeah.
or didn't allow the fire
Right.
to happen to begin with.
All you have to do is just go, and then gone.
And people put up memes where they said that, look, Jesus was in there. I'm like, wow, that's a little bit masochistic. Like, my house is burning down.
What, like they saw Jesus'
Yeah.
face in the flames
Yeah,
or
there-
something?
yes,
I
yes,
mean,
absolutely.
He was up
Of course
there,
they did.
he was
Of
up
course
there
they
singing,
did.
"We
Of
didn't
course they
start the fire." Blasphemy 101.
Yes. My goodness.
All right. This was an amazing show. This is one of my first shows, and I am so happy to be here with my friend Josh and my new friend Shannon.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm a hugger.
We hope to see you next time, and thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, guys.